Hey guys, there you are. Please tell me that you guys can see me and you can hear me properly. It's a lot of effort to go through. Right on. The video's not glitching or anything like that. Right on. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, happy 4th of July to all you Americans out there. And you know what? Hey, there's going to be some Canadians on here too. And happy Canada, belated Canada Day, which was about a few days ago. So happy Canada Day for you guys too. Happy birthday, Stan. Right on. Your birthday is on Independence Day? That's cool, man. Right on. Yeah, right on. Go America. Hooah. Love it. I get about 83% right now of all my views are from the United States of America. Go America. Love it. Oh, the beer of the day. Yes. Sorry. I got some vitamin L going on here. It is noon for me right now, noon on the nose, so I'm allowed. All right. If you guys keep seeing me looking over here, kind of ignoring you a little bit, I'm reading your comments, just so you know. Stevie, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you doing, bud? Do you smoke weed? Dr. Moreau says, do you smoke weed? I am Canadian. I'm not answering that question on the grounds that it may incriminate me. Yeah, happy birthday to everybody. Awesome, man. Yeah, I keep seeing ones come up say condolences to your brother and stuff like that. And then you know what, you guys, I really appreciate that. On the last video, I got so many comments. It was crazy how many comments and the sentiments you guys are putting out there with condolences and sorry for your loss and all that stuff. So I truly appreciate that. I'm uh, I'm 49 years old, and my brother was the first one that I ever lost in my life in 49 years that I was actually close to. So yeah, it's been kind of tough on me, but I'm getting back in now. I'm doing good now. I'm doing good today. It's a good day today. It's Independence Day. Yeah, Wesley. Yeah, you betcha. Lucky beer. Yeah, vitamin L. I call it. Mechanic I used to work with, Paul. He calls it vitamin L. I always thought that was hilarious myself. Well, it's supposed to be a Q&A, guys. I got about a half an hour ish. You know, I say that on the last two Q&As I've done, half an hour. It always goes on a little bit longer than that because I don't want to cut you guys off and stuff. But yeah, you know what? Kellen Griffin, I'm going to say Kellen Griffin. He says, "What's your favorite chainsaw?" And that's a great question, man. I get asked that. I got comments on my channels all the time talking about that. What's my favorite chainsaw? It is really hard to answer that question. It's like all the top manufacturers out there. You got Steel, you got Husqvarna, you got Echo, and it really depends on what size of a chainsaw you're looking for. If you're looking for a little small firewood cutting saw that has like a 20-inch bar on it, I would really highly recommend an Echo, to be honest with you, because they always got them on sale and they're really good engines. Echo makes a wicked good engine. Um, if you go into the Fowler saws, you got a 36-inch bar, something like that. Then I'm gonna say either Husqvarna or Still. Echo is working on a chainsaw right now, a big falling chainsaw. They don't really have one that big yet. As far as those little dinky chainsaws, you know, you just want to go prune some trees and stuff, and they got like a 14, 16-inch bar on them. You got your Still MS 170. That is a pretty bulletproof saw. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any carburetor screws on it that you could adjust your low speed and your high speed. So that kind of sucks with that. It either works or it doesn't. If it doesn't work right, you got to take your carburetor apart and make sure everything's in the carburetor is right. Husqvarna makes a pretty decent little saw too, an MS or a Husqvarna 136, 141, something like that. They're pretty good chainsaws too. That's right, Lance. That's right. I told you that before, didn't I? Somebody asked me before, what's your favorite beer? I said, I got two favorite beers, free and cold. That's my two favorite beers right there. I don't judge. Um, Steve, what's your recommended oil mix for chainsaws? I did do a couple of videos on this, and you know what? They all recommend 50 to 1. And I've used steel mix. Do I got one right here? Hold on. Right there. See that stuff right there? I've been using that stuff right there for freaking 20 years or something like that. It's made by Castrol, and I mix all of it at for my entire life. I've always mixed at 40 to 1, even though the manufacturers say you only need 50 to 1. I think they're saying that for emissions controls, because there's not much smoke coming out of it. But I mix all my mix forever now with that stuff at 40 to 1, and I have never ever in my life had anything happen with a piston on my own, or a piston and cylinder on my own personal stuff, ever, from doing that. So that's what there's probably better stuff out there, or the same good stuff out there, but that's what I would recommend to anybody, because that's my personal experience with mix oil. Um, what's the black wire used for that goes between your magneto and your brake mechanism? When you say the brake mechanism, I would assume that you're talking about a lawnmower engine there. So yeah, if you have a coil or a magneto, some people call it an ignition module. I don't have one sitting right here, but you'll see that it's got a little. It's a little black box, and you got your high tension lead coming off of it, and your spark plug boot on the end of that, and then you plug that into your spark plug. On that little black box, there's usually a little connector on there where you plug an extra little wire onto there. That's a kill switch wire. As far as what you're saying there, it goes to your brake mechanism. It's a kill switch wire. So you know when you have your lawnmower, you pull that bail down to start your lawnmower, and then when you let that lever go, it kills your engine. What that's doing is it's activating. When you let that lever go, it activates a little brake that grabs your flywheel. It contacts your flywheel and stops your blade from turning. And at the exact same time, it kills that black wire, the other end of that black wire, from your magneto, your ignition module, to kill the spark. If that black wire wasn't there, then what would happen, and I've seen this actually happen before, that black wire is not there, that brake on your lawnmower grabs a flywheel, but it's not killing the spark to stop the engine. So the engine keeps trying to run, and it starts burning that brake out, and you'll hear it. The engine slows down because that brake's trying to stop it, and it'll just start smoking that brake and burning your brake out. So that's what that little black wire is for. On your two strokes, on your 2-cycle engines, there's no brake mechanism there. So if that little black wire was broken or something like that going to your ignition module, then you're not going to do any damage to it. It just simply won't shut off. You'll hit that off switch to shut your blower off or your chainsaw off, and it just won't work. It'll just keep on running. That's what that little black wire is for. It's a little kill a ground wire. It grounds the coil out to kill the spark, so your engine will stop. $186 of you guys in here right now. Thanks, guys. Wow, I think that's a record. I've only done about 3 Q&As so far. That's a record. Maybe it's because you guys all got the day off in the United States right now. That could be. Citizen Soldier. Does Oregon make a chain for my 18-inch Blue Max? Oregon makes a chain for everything. You just got to figure out the numbers and get the right chain. All chain manufacturers make chains that fit any chainsaw. There's three different things you got to worry about. There's the gauge of the chain. It's the thickness of the driver that fits into the slot of your bar, your guide bar. The thickness of that is the gauge of the chain. So you have to know that number. And then you have to know the pitch, which is the distance. Well, it's kind of complicated. It's the distance between two of those little drivers. And when I say driver, I mean those little things that look like shark teeth, not the cutters, but the ones that go into the guide bar. The pitch is it's the distance between one and the other divided by 2, something like that. That's where you get your 3/8 or your 0.325 or your 1/4 inch or your 404. That's what that means. So you have to get that. And then just the length of your chain after that. How many drivers actually fits your chainsaw? They all make it. I do have a video on that too. If you go back to my channel on YouTube, I have playlists in there, and that video should be in my chainsaw playlist if you want to look at that one. Immortal, you guys are commenting to Immortal. I missed his comment, unfortunately, because I was yapping away here. I do have to do that sometimes because I'm answering your questions as you're doing that, but yeah, Citizen Soldier, you're welcome. No problem. I hope that answered your question. How do you remove a stuck Lovejoy coupler? I know what a Lovejoy coupler is on log splitters and stuff, usually like that. You mean a stuck one where it's not in between the 2 Lovejoys that go like that, right? You're talking about on the shafts, how to get the halves off the shafts. If that's what you're talking about, I would say that video that I just put out on the acetone 50/50 acetone and ATF. That's not just good for unseizing bolts and nuts. That will work on something like that too. These clutches that are on a shaft on the side of your engine, you can't get it off. It will also work on there. I'll tell you guys, that stuff is awesome. Yeah, ignition coils. Yeah, why doesn't your engine start when it's hot? That is a freaking great question. I got to do a video on that. I haven't done one on it yet. There are a lot of things. You go out and you start your whatever, your chainsaw, your weed eater, your lawnmower, and it starts great when it's cold. And then you run it for a long time, and then you say you got to go fill it up with fuel or something like that. And and then you go to start it again when the engine's already hot and it will not start. There's several different things that it could be. The most common reason by far, I'm not saying this is going to be your problem, but the by far is that the coil, damn, I wish I had a coil here. I don't know where one is, just so I could show you, but that same thing we're talking about at the beginning, that ignition coil with the high lead tension and the spark plug would on the end of it. It's all kind of electronic components inside that black box. It's all sealed up. So expansion and contraction. This is the problem with this. You run, it's cold, it contracts down, and all those electronic components in there are touching each other properly. And so you start it and it's cold and it runs great. And then your engine heats up, that coil heats up, and it expands just a teeny bit. It just kind of pulls apart a little bit because of the heat. And then when you go to start it again, some of those, or one connection or something inside that sealed unit is kind of pulled apart and it's not making a connection anymore. It's a good chance that that is your problem if you have an ongoing problem with your engine starting fine cold, but you can't start it when it's hot. There are other, like I say, I'm not going to get into that. It's just lots of little reasons that it could be, but most likely it's the coil. Most small engine mechanics I've ever worked with, when a customer comes in and says they have that problem, they just slap a new coil on and try it and see if it works and go, okay, it actually was the coil or ignition module or magneto, some of you guys call it, right? Yeah. Hey, Robert McMahon. I always get that wrong, how it's spelled. I think it's pronounced McMahon. Super chat, $2. Thank you very much, bud. You bought me a beer. You just bought, look at that. You just bought me that beer right there. Thanks, Robert. That's awesome. Thanks, buddy. Oh, 4th of July. Let's blow up an engine. Good call. I already done that twice. I did a little leaf blower, blew that up with straight gas in it, and then I ran a Honda engine out of oil, blew that thing up. I thought those were kind of funny videos. I actually got a lot of flack from that, for blowing up an engine. I got a lot of comments on those ones saying, why would you do that? Why would you ruin a perfectly good engine on purpose? And I'm like, well, it's for educational purposes, so you guys can see what actually is going to happen if you do that. Educational purposes. Most of that stuff I get for free, so it doesn't cost me anything. But yeah, it's a perfectly good engine. Oh well. Yeah, Mike Wilson, that's a great question too. He says, any experience with replacing a coil to eliminating the points and condenser system to an old Briggs and Stratton? That is actually super easy to do, Mike. What you have to do though, you have to get a new coil. It's an electronic coil. It's not the points and condenser one. It's actually super easy to do that. You literally put the coil on just like your old coil is, and where you're going to see there's these two little wires, these two black wires that kind of go, you take the flywheel off and you can see these two little black wires going underneath behind where the flywheel was. They're kind of hidden. That's where your points and condenser are. If you don't want to have any more problems with your points and condenser, you just cut those wires off. You don't even need to open that up. You just cut those wires off and put a electronic coil on it. It's going to look very similar to the one that you're taking off, but you don't need the points and condenser. We do it all the time on old rototillers and stuff like that because people are sick and tired of going to rototilling in their lawn or their garden, and they say, oh, again, now this year it won't start again, and it's because the points. You got to file the points and all that stuff. Just replace it. Super easy to do. It's another good question. Shooter, what octane is best to run in my trimmers and saws? I used to work for a company that, I don't know why they told people this. They said use the lowest octane. 87 octane is the best to use because it burns cooler. If you use the high test stuff like your 91 and your 92 octane, your engine burns too hot. That is a crock of crap. And I've told people this before and they just don't believe it. All gasoline burns at, don't quote me on this one. I think it's 186,000 BTU. It doesn't matter what octane it is, it all burns at 186,000 BTU. The best you can put in your lawnmower is the higher octane because a lot of that stuff doesn't have ethanol in it for one thing, and then that higher octane stuff, they do put some cleaning additives and stuff in there too. So don't be afraid of using that. If somebody tells you don't put high octane in your lawnmower engine or your chainsaw or something like that because it'll burn too hot, tell them to shut up because that is absolutely not true. I guarantee you that is not true. Kathy, I'm missing some of these super chats. Kathy, $5. Happy 4th. Cheers and thank you for your excellent videos. Thank you very much, Kathy. I really appreciate that. Nicholas Duval, dollar super chat. Right on, man. Oh, I'm screwing everything up on the inside. I need to take some lessons on using my mouse properly. Yeah, mixed mowers. Hey, mixed mowers. Nice. I'm glad you're here. I see a lot of your comments come through on my channel. That's a really good question. He says piston ring gaps. How essential are they? They are. If you want to know what the gap is, you probably already know this, mixed mowers, but if you want to know what the gap is, what you do is you have your cylinder off and you have your piston off, and then you take the ring off the piston and you slide it inside the cylinder so it's connected all the way around inside the cylinder. And then right where that springs together, right where that gap comes together, you can measure that little gap like that, right? Well, if it's too wide, you are going to lose compression through that little gap if that ring is worn out too much. And especially if you have two rings on that piston and they're both worn out, then you're going to really lose a lot of compression from doing that. So they are important. There are specs for all different engines, and everything have different specs for what your ring end gap should be. I've seen mechanics replace rings before, and I'm like, why are you doing that? There's nothing wrong with those rings, and then they'll replace the rings anyway and say, oh no, that's why it's not running properly, and it's usually not the case. You got to have a really old, worn out engine to be even worried about that. Scoring and stuff like that is way more common than that. What did I just see? Swayze, you look like Swayze's brother. I get that all the time. I get that all the time. You should have seen me 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I couldn't go into a grocery store. I had long, curly hair. I couldn't go into a grocery store without somebody stopping me and saying, hey, do you know that you look just like Patrick Swayze? Not so much anymore. I took it as a compliment. Why does your mower run only on choke, Mr. B? It's usually, again, not every time, but it's usually because your carburetor is dirty. You need that main jet cleared out. When you have the choke on, it's really using that engine pressure to suck the gas in there and keep it going. And then you turn the choke off and it dies. It's usually because that main jet that draws your fuel up into the carburetor to get it in the engine. It's usually because that's plugged. I do have 2-3 videos on my channel if you want to go back to my playlists and check those out. That is the most common thing. Any small engine mechanic, the most common thing that a small engine mechanic does is clean the main jet out on a carburetor. It's just over and over and over again. That's why I did like at least three videos on that, and it's super easy to do. Matthew, thank you very much, bud. Yeah, Matthew store. I just use Amazon, to be honest with you. That's what I use. I don't know any really good websites for ordering parts online other than that. Amazon has always been so good with me. I ordered you see that ultrasonic cleaner right there over there? Where's my face? I ordered that and it said it would be about a week. My wife came in 2 days later and said, your ultrasonic cleaner's here. I was like, what? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? Did they fly it in here on a helicopter? I couldn't believe it got here that fast. And it was not very much, money. It was 200 and something dollars Canadian. So yeah, I don't have any other experience with any other websites to answer your question other than Amazon. Yeah. Jasper Sorensen, 2020 super chat. DKK. God, I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what country you're from. Thank you for this great channel. And you are welcome, and thank you for watching my videos, buddy. I love it. I love it. I'm talking now and I'm missing people. I don't want to miss anybody. Yeah. Another one. Oh, you came in a little late. Tab 561. What's your favorite beer again? I get that question all the time. In case you missed it, buddy, I said I have two favorite beers, free and cold. That's my two favorite beers. Yeah, replacement parts. Yeah, Jack Small Engine. Yeah, yeah. I haven't. I know who both those are, but I don't have really any experience. I've never ordered anything from them. But obviously, they got a great reputation. They've been around for freaking a long time, so obviously they're doing something right. Oh, thank you, Benji. Right on. $2. Super chat. Thanks, bud. You guys are buying me beers. Oh, yeah. I'm getting a little parched. Oh, that's better. Just so you know, it is noon for me. It's like 12:30 now. So I'm allowed. Marty McGill. Man, it's awesome how many names I recognize on here from you guys commenting and stuff. Marty, thanks, Steve, for the great content you bring. You're very welcome. I just try my best to. I just love it when somebody comments on one of my videos and says, "You just saved me a ton of money. Thank you very much." I just love that. I love it. That's why I started doing this. I've worked for too many shops in my life where people get ripped off, like the whole spark arrestor thing, right? You take your BG55 steel blower in, you drop it off and say, this thing won't rev up. The guy at the front counter already knows why it's not revving up. He already knows it's just the spark arrestor screen, but he's like, oh no, you have to have a full tune up on this. And it's just that kind of crap that I've gone through over my life at small engine shops that I just hate it. I hate it. What do you think of cheap knockoff carb rebuild kits? You know what? I don't think there's a difference. I've used both of them. I've used the actual Walbros and the actual Zama carb kits, and then you get your. I've only used a couple knockoff ones. There's not a lot of knockoff carb kits out there. Maybe you're talking about replacement carburetors, and I've also had good luck with those things too. Yeah, exactly. Skywalker, exactly. Yeah, there's a good question right there. I get this asked this a lot, and Randy Jorgensen, uh, regular or synthetic oil in a 4-cycle mower. I just can't see how there's any difference. I honestly, you're not working on a Formula One car. It's not a race car. It's just a small engine turning at very low RPMs in comparison to a race car. I just can't see how there's any difference. There's a lot of debates if you go to on the internet. How many debates there are about regular synthetic oil in a lawnmower engine or yeah, a 4-cycle 4-stroke engine. I honestly can't see how in the hell it matters. I honestly can't. Oh, what's that? DD Team RC, $5. Happy 4th of July from DD Team RC. Your videos are so helpful. Thanks. Thank you for that, and you're welcome. I love it. I'm next time I do this, you guys, I'm gonna wear my glasses. Don't laugh at me when I wear my glasses, but I'm having a real hard time reading some of this. And no, I've only had one beer. It's not because of that. I know somebody's gonna say that on there. Okay, so you have a hard time your engine gets stuck. I just saw something go up there, and this is actually a really good question. There was a Briggs and Stratton update service bulletin that came out a while ago. If you turn your key on your riding lawnmower, and this only applies to twin cylinder engines, if you have 2 spark plugs in there, right, and you turn that engine over, and you can see the flywheel spin, and then it gets stuck. And you go, oh, and you turn that key and it won't turn the engine over. And it's a Briggs and Stratton engine. And then you go, well, the battery's dead. And it sounds just like that too. It actually sounds like the battery's dead or the battery's pooch. And you go buy a new battery, you put a brand new charged battery in there, you turn that key, and that flywheel comes around, it sticks again. It's like, and there's not enough power to turn that engine over to start it. If you guys have that symptom right there, this is what you got to do. You have to adjust your valves. There was a lot of Briggs and Stratton engines made out there, the twin cylinders, that has 4 valves, 2 on each side, 1 intake, 1 exhaust on both sides. You have to adjust those valves to exactly 5 thousandths of an inch each. All 4 valves, 5 thousandths of an inch each. And then it's got something to do with that decompression bump in there. that it's not, the battery's not strong enough to pull it over past that decompression to keep that flywheel spinning to start. We did lots of, I've done lots of those where they came in with that symptom, and you just pop those valve covers off, adjust all 4 valves to 5/1000ths of an inch, and boom, it turns over like crazy and it starts every time. Might do a video on that. Got all kinds of good video ideas. Bill Gunter, thank you, buddy. He just bought me a beer. Thanks for the free education, Steve. Blessings. And that's a good point. I love it, man. It is free education. It's YouTube. I'm putting that information out there for free for you guys. I'm trying to help you guys and save you guys some money. Oh, what's that one? FS45. Oh, got a backup here. Thanks. I'm just reading through some of these. Just the compliments you guys are giving me. You guys are awesome. You guys are friggin' awesome. I just love you guys, man. Keep citizen soldier. Keep the thumb. What's that say? Keep the thumbs ups coming, y'all. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, 232 of you guys in here. I see. And 102 thumbs ups. That's what you're saying. Jacob McGee, that's really nice of you. He subs to 30 plus channels, and this is the only one he watches on a live feed. That's a nice compliment, buddy. Thank you very much for that. Holy cow, are you kidding me? Daryl Gullett, $50 super chat. Are you serious? Bud, that is super nice of you. Thank you so much. You didn't even ask me a question. That's a straight up donation. Buddy, thank you. That is incredible. That's hands down the biggest donation I've ever got, or a super chat. That's awesome, man. Now I got to keep. See, now if you ask me a question, now I'm going to miss it because I want to pay attention to you. There you are. You have done most with your video. I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm watching some of these comments here that you guys are typing in. I'm going to tell you guys something right now. When you go to a small engine shop and they say they put a new carburetor on, like say you actually do have a screwed carburetor on your a little Husqvarna leaf blower, something like that, and they put a new carburetor on it. It's not a true Zama. I shouldn't say that. In some cases, it is. It's a real one. Um, in most cases, I mean, I go through the parts bins in the last 3 small engine shops I've worked at, and you're digging part numbers out, and you're pulling them out, and you're going, it's a Chinese carburetor. It says that weird Chinese name on it. It's not a Zama. It's not a Walbro. These things cost like $7 on Amazon, and we're selling them for $50-$60 each. So many small engine shops out there use aftermarket stuff anyways, and there's no problem with that stuff. I've never actually personally used an aftermarket part on a unit that where I put it on and I went, you know what, this is junk. This sucks compared to the original. For the cost, the savings that you get on that stuff, it's incredible. I would just say, buy it online, Amazon, eBay, whatever. There you go. Spark Arthur. What do I think of E3 spark plugs? I don't have a lot of experience with those. Most of the spark plugs around where I am are either Bosch, NGK, or Champion. E3s in a small engine, a lawnmower or a chainsaw or something like that. I just, again, like what I said about the engine oil there earlier, I just can't see how it makes a difference. It's not a freaking race car. It's, if the spark plug works and it doesn't misfire, then it works. I'm gonna do that one, Al. I'm gonna do that one. Changing a drive belt, the drive belt on a John Deere. It's gonna be a long video. There's a lot of stuff you need to do. Unfortunately, you got to take the steering wheel off, the steering column out, everything to change that on a lot of John Deere models. So I am going to do that video soon. I love how you guys are talking to each other on here. I love it. You guys are answering each other's questions because you know I can't read all that. It's just a blur going up. Thanks, Bill Gunter. Thank you. That's really nice. He says that he just loves the honesty. I get that comment every day on my channel on one of my videos or another one. I get somebody comment on that saying that you just love the honesty. It's the exact opposite of what you get when you take it into your small engine shop. I'm telling you how to save money. Don't take it into your small engine shop and spend 150 bucks when you can do this for free in 15 seconds. You know, and I appreciate that. That's what I'm always trying to do, is be honest with people. And yeah, I have good luck with NGK spark plugs too. I really do. That's a good question, Roberto Mendoza. Is it healthy to use small engines with starter fluid? No. If you have to do it, actually, I shouldn't say that. With a four-stroke, four-cycle, like your lawnmower or your riding lawnmower, it's not too bad if you just need to give it a shot in there. The problem with a two-stroke, two-cycle engine is because you have your fuel. The only thing lubricating that piston and cylinder is your fuel and your oil mixture. If you shoot starter fluid in there, or if you use even like methyl hydrate or something like that to get the water out, what that does is it separates the fuel, the oil and the fuel mixture, and it kind of washes. What it does is it kind of washes the side of the intake side of the piston off, the piston and the cylinder, where it's almost like it's running with straight gas in it with no mix, because the oil can't stick to it anymore. If you need to put a little shot in there just to get it running, it probably is not going to hurt it. But if you have a real problem with your two-stroke, two-cycle blower chainsaw like that, and you just keep squirting that in there and firing up and squirting that in there and trying to get it run, you could actually theoretically score the piston on that, because that's not good for a two-stroke or two-cycle. $248 of you guys in here, 250 of you guys in here right now. This is awesome. This is a record breaker for me. Yes, I've seen this too. John Matney do a video on changing the fluid in the hydrostatic transmission. I assume on a riding lawnmower. There are hydrostatic transmissions on some walk behind lawnmowers too. The Hondas, the hydrostatic Honda walk behind lawnmowers, the commercial grade ones. I'm going to do that. It's on my list. I have a list. You guys, I have a list of probably 40. Every time I get a comment from you guys, I'm writing down, oh, here's a good video idea, unlimited video ideas. And that is already on my list to do that, because I've got enough comments saying that. I'm going to try to do it. as soon as possible. Oh, hey, my throat's not dry anymore. Awesome. Citizen Soldier, hit that thumbs up button. Yeah, what are you guys doing for your? I mean, it's July 4th for most of you guys on here. I know most of you are Americans on here right now. You guys all having barbecues and stuff later? That's what we do on Canada Day too. John Dawson from England. What are you doing awake? Isn't it like the middle of the night over there right now? Well, that's cool. I'm glad you're here. I get about 82% of all my views on my channel are from the United States, and the rest of them are made up between Canada, Australia, the UK, and Ireland, believe it or not. That's my 5 top viewers out there in the world who watch my videos. I love all you guys. Ireland, though, Ireland's like that big on a map. It's small, man. Oh, it's only 10 p.m. over there. Oh, hello from Ireland. There you go, Skywalker. Right on. Hey, this is a perfect time. Then you know what? I'm going to actually write this down, and the next Q&A I do, I might do it at the exact same time. It seems to kind of hit the whole world that, while everybody's awake. Maybe not Australia. Any Australians in here? Wales, right on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello from the USA. Bosnia and Herzegovina? Really? That's awesome. Really? How long have we been on here? 47 minutes. Oh, I always say I'm going to only go half an hour. I get a lot of crap from guys once I put this on, say, that was way too long. You shouldn't do it that long. But I hate hanging up on you guys, Yeah. Home brew beer. I used to make my own home brew beer years ago. This is awesome, you guys. Well, you know what? 3/4 of an hour. I think I'm going to call her quits. I think I'm going to actually go in. I got some stuff to do. I just heard my wife's car pull up outside. So I know she's going to be stomping in here in a second. Finally, a Canadian. All right, one last question. Do you think today's small engines are made to fail? Yes, I do. I absolutely do. You know that old saying that they say they don't make stuff like they used to? That is true. They don't, and I truly think it is actually on purpose. They want you to buy new stuff every 2 years. They want you to buy parts. They don't make stuff. If you can buy all that old stuff and restore, like the old Husqvarna, for instance, the 61 Husqvarna chainsaw, the 266, the 288s, they don't make a chainsaw like that anymore and never ever will again. Those things lasted forever, and you never had to replace parts on them unless you physically broke something. But yeah, I do believe that, and I think it's from marketing standpoint, the manufacturers do it on purpose. Simple as that. I truly believe that. Phones are the same way. Exactly. Exactly. Your cell phone is exactly the same way. Oh, well, that's the way the world's going, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, guys. 50 minutes. I got to take off. I got to go see what's going on in there. Thank you guys all so much for stopping by, having a chat with me. I hope I answered some of your questions as usual. I hope I saved you guys some money there. And it was just fun talking to you guys. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try to do this not every week maybe, but every couple weeks I'll try to do that. That'd be cool. So there you go. I'm going to hit I don't even know where that button is anymore. My off button. Right there. Till the next time, guys. I got to say it. Steve out.